In this one, the idea is that communities are really tightly interacting species assemblages, right? That are dependent and closely interacting with each other. Well, when anybody ever presents it's this way or that way, you should instantly say it's really what? It's both. It's someplace in the middle. It might shift over there. That shows an educated person. When presented with this or that, you don't pick that or this. You pick what? Something in the middle, because that's usually what's going on. All right? And again, Clemens was the one who came up with the interactive hypothesis. So let's talk about ecosystems just briefly, because I want to talk about social structure. And in order to understand that, we need to know something about ecosystems. So community of organisms, what is an ecosystem? Community of organisms embedded in their physical environment or chemical environment. We're really talking about how energy flows through a system and how nutrients are typically cycled within it. So let's start with the most basic, which is sun is the primary energy source. So sun forms the primary energy source for our planet. There are exceptions to that. What are alternative energy sources that are available for organisms? Chemical energy is a massive one, especially to the microbial world. What else?
Thermal.
Geothermal heat is another, okay? So those are alternatives, but the big one for us on the planet is definitely solar radiation from our sun. So the first thing about an ecosystem are, typically they're thought of as open biological systems. What does that mean? Stuff comes in, stuff goes out. That's what open means. They have a one-way flow of energy, starting from the primary source through the system and out. However, there is typically a cycling of nutrients within the system. So for instance, if we have the sunlight is taken by autotrophs, which convert that sunlight energy into chemical bonds. They create primary production in the form of glucose in their own biomass. That is then consumed by heterotrophs, right, which eat the preformed food, so that would be the primary consumer, a consumer of that material. Autotrophs die, and that material is lost from the system. Heterotrophs die, that material is lost from the system. But heterotrophs benefit autotrophs because when they eat autotrophs, they will do what? They will poop and they'll pee, releasing nutrients back into the system, which then generates positive benefit for the autotroph. Energy flow through the system one way, nutrients spiral through the system, okay? Ultimately, everything is lost, but energy is flowing quickly through the system in a linear profile, and then you can think of nutrients as kind of spiraling down through the system, all right? Being cycled. Stuff comes in, energy and nutrients, stuff goes out, energy and nutrients. So when we think about a trophic level, let's do a tight definition of it. A trophic level basically means that you group organisms by their functional similarity. It's defined by the number of steps in which it takes to get to you, starting from the primary, which is the energy source, in this case the sun. So the primary producers are the very first in the line. You have things that are taking sunlight energy. What's the basic photosynthetic equation again? You guys remember, don't balance it or anything for me. What do? You take, this is from 1B, you're probably learning it right now, hopefully, right? What is it? Before you hit light, you got to have what? Plants are grabbing what?
Carbon dioxide.
CO2, carbon dioxide, right? Plus, what did I say? Carbon dioxide plus water. Hit it with light to create the bonds to create
Glucose.
Plus the waste product, which is oxygen. That's it, right? So in that break, you're creating primary biomass. So that is an autotroph. If you are a primary producer, the first to produce organic biomass, that will be consumed. The first organism to consume that biomass is referred to as a primary consumer. There are three primary types of primary consumers. An herbivore eats living plant material. All right? A decomposer eats dead plant material. And then a detritivore, a detritivore also eats dead material, but they eat it in different ways. So an herbivore is primarily eating live material. A nice example would be the grasshopper. What's the fungus? That's the decomposer. What's the worm? That is the detritivore. What's the difference? The fungus is digesting this material outside of its body and then pulling it in. The detritivore is digesting material internally in the body through a gut. That's the only difference. Okay, so one is basically secreting enzymes, pulling it back across. The other one ingests the material and digests it internally. That's the difference between the decomposer and the detritivore from this viewpoint. All right. Well, what eats that? The mouse can eat all those things, it would like to. And so that would be a secondary consumer, which eats the primary consumer. Something like that gopher snake would be a tertiary consumer, eating the mouse. What eats the gopher snake? The red-tailed hawk, and that would be a quaternary consumer. They eat the tertiary consumer. That forms a hierarchy of feeding relationships from top to bottom. All right? Interestingly enough, you rarely get past the quaternary level on our planet. There are exceptions, but most of the time that's about it. So we're going to come back and talk about why that is. But let's go a little further. I got a couple more minutes. So what is this referred to as, this linear profile? As a food chain. That's exactly right. Are they real? They are, but they're not very common. The food chain is more a teaching device than anything. But do they occur? They do. I've worked in plenty of systems where I've seen very linear food chains. But by far the norm is not a food chain. It's a reticulate web of interactions referred to as a what? A food web, right? Not linear, but reticulate in nature. And so that is by far the norm. This is a diagrammatic view of an attacked food chain. Look at all the linkages. So animals are not stupid. If I am confronted, look at yourself. Where do you feed in terms of a food chain? You just eat at the top?
No.
When you go out and you have sushi, you eat bluefin tuna. What level consumer are you? You're like a 5th level consumer. But when you eat the salad that goes with it or the seaweed, you're a primary consumer. So you're all over the map. So you're making all kinds of different connections, and that's what most organisms are doing in this multi-linkage system. Next time we meet, we'll carry forward with the